This is CBSSports.com's College Basketball 360. Great to have you with us, everybody. I'm Kevin Cork. This is our preview of the SEC. And for more on that, we welcome our college basketball insiders, Gary Parrish and Jeff Goodman, on the show. Guys, okay, it's got to be Kentucky, right? Gary, first to you.
Of course, it's Kentucky. I know they lost all 5 starters from last year, but here's what they did. Basically replaced that roster with 5 more pros. And Kyle Wiltshire will have a bigger role this year, but from Alex Poitras to Archie Goodwin to NC State transfer Ryan Harrow, they have future draft picks all over the court again, and they lack experience. What they're missing this year is a Terrence Jones, a Deron Lamb, a Darius Miller, type guys who could sort of help those freshmen come along. But still, when you talk strictly in terms of talent, I don't think not only anybody in the SEC can touch them, probably nobody in America can.
You know what? If it's not Kentucky, I think Gary should have to get a Nerlens Noel flat top.
I'm almost there.
It does look like it. Anyway, hey, they have an unbelievable freshman class. We've said that each of the last 3 years. What worries me, I guess, about this Kentucky team, if there is something, and you got to nitpick a little bit, is the depth, especially at the point guard spot. Ryan Harrow, remember last year they stayed healthy, and that was the biggest thing. This year they can ill afford a loss, probably at any position, but specifically at the point guard spot where NC State transfer Ryan Harrow will be given the ball, and we'll see if he can really produce like Marcus Teague did last season.
All right, it seems obvious that Kentucky is everybody's preseason pick, but if there's a team or maybe a couple teams, guys, that might give them a decent challenge in the conference, who would those teams be? First to you, Gary.
To me, it's Florida. Everybody remembers the back-to-back national championships, and then a bit of a lull while Billy Donovan rebuilt. But last year, Elite Eight. Year before that, Elite Eight. And now he brings back a core of Kenny Boynton, Patrick Young, Eric Murphy. This is a team that...
Who's your point guard, though? Who's your point guard? That's good.
Scotty Wilbekin?
Scotty Wilbekin. There you go. Thank you.
No, listen, I'm obviously concerned there. But listen, my point is this. Nobody has been as stable in the country almost as Billy Donovan has been throughout his career at Florida. He's on a nice little run here. This is a team that, look, I'm still picking Kentucky, no question. But if you're saying can anybody maybe push them, particularly if Ryan Harrow doesn't develop like you suggested, particularly if there's an injury that can sideline somebody important on Kentucky's roster, Florida's a reasonable pick.
I'm going with Missouri. I mean, I'll take my point guard and Phil Pressey over your point guard and Scotty Wilbekin any day of the week.
That's fair.
And on Sundays. I'll also take Lawrence Bowers if he's healthy, coming back from that torn ACL. Alex Oriaki, who was the best player in the national title game 2 years ago for UConn.
Ooh, I remember more about last year's Alex Oriaki. You taking him back in a time machine now?
Well, listen, Andre Drummond screwed up that team pretty well, including Alex Oriaki. But I just think Missouri's got more overall talent. Depth, experience, and again, point guard play for me is the determining factor between Missouri and Florida as far as challenging Kentucky.
Our experts are going at it already. This is College Basketball 360. This is our preview here. I'm Kevin Cork. Great to have you with us, everybody. It's Gary Parrish and Jeff Goodman joining us once again. Guys, we're looking ahead to a conference that obviously has so much depth, so much individual talent. Noel, there's Pressey. Who do you have as your player of the year? First to you, Gary.
On the surface, I'd go with Nerlens Noel because he's a guy who's a top 5 pick, #1 high school player in the country, and John Calipari has a pretty good history of taking those types of players and making them impactful right from the start. But the reviews early on Nerlens haven't been great, and I think maybe some of that is because so many people are comparing him to Anthony Davis, which is probably unfair on some level. So I will go with Nerlens, but I'm worried on some level about that pick.
You know, I've seen Nerlens play 100 times. I love him. He's the best defensive high school shot blocker I've ever seen, including Anthony Davis. I'm going with Pressey here just because, again, I think it's a safer pick. He makes everybody better. Doesn't score it extremely well, but, again, look at Marcus Demon and Kimmy English and what that team did last year. I think the biggest reason was Phil Pressey and his ability to make people better. Don't go by the numbers. Just go by the impact, and I think it'll be Phil Pressey.
Brothers, Stokes. I didn't hear any love for Stokes. Come on, Gary, help me out. He's my preseason player of the year.
You know what? That Tennessee team, and Cuonzo Martin's done a good job because taking over for Bruce Pearl under those circumstances wasn't going to be easy. But now you look at that front court with Jerron Mayman and your guy Jarnell Stokes, point guard, and Trey Golden, who's off unheralded but still pretty good. And Tennessee's a team that I don't think they're going to challenge Kentucky, but could I see Cuonzo taking them to the NCAA tournament in just his second year? Yeah, I think that's likely.
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. I think Stokes is one of those guys that's vastly underrated. Look at what he did last year, coming in mid-season and putting up that type of impact. He could be the player of the year, absolutely, Kevin.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I want to show everybody at home our preseason all-league team. You heard Gary and Jeff talking about all these great players. Look at the names there. I mean, top to bottom, Kentucky with a pair. You've got Tennessee represented, Missouri, and Arkansas. Fantastic talent across the board. Don't fall asleep on B.J. Young. That guy is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. By the way, if you go to our website, cbssports.com, you can see how our experts in the preseason have ranked the SEC. The list is right there before you. No real surprise at the top, but you can certainly make the argument that this is a very interesting season coming up for the SEC and what is obviously, once again, a very deep conference. As for our preseason player of the year, well, you heard them talking about Phil Pressey out of Missouri. Really talented, super skill set, great playmaker. Keep an eye on him. You've got Nerlens Noel as our freshman of the year. Got all the size, all the length, and excellent play. And, of course, our all-league team, you've had a chance to take a look at that as well. This quick reminder, everybody, CBSSports.com is the place to follow college basketball all season long, and of course right here on College Basketball 360. Big time thanks to our experts, Gary Parrish and Jeff Goodman, for joining us. I'm Kevin Cork, reminding you that you can get all your college basketball at our website, cbssports.com. This has been the latest edition of College Basketball 360. We'll see you again next time.